Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel if you are a subscriber, and if you are brand new, hi. This might be a bit of an overwhelming video to watch if this is the first one you're seeing of me, but then again maybe you came looking for information and so hopefully I can help you out. So yeah, this is a bit of a weird one to try and start because so much is constantly happening in the way of like my lupus and my health stuff, but really I just want to kind of go back to September time. So the last time we spoke, obviously I said I'd been diagnosed, which was back in July. At the end of July I got diagnosed with lupus. So up until the point where I'm going to start talking, no one had seen me. I was waiting on seeing a rheumatologist, but I hadn't heard anything. No one had seen me, no one had told me anything. I wasn't on any medication for it, blah blah blah. And then we went to Florida, and you'll see this if you're watching my Florida vlogs or if you follow my Instagram or my blog or my Facebook page for my blog, that whilst in Florida I ended up in a wheelchair because of my lupus, which was because of a few reasons. But the first time, so we discussed whether or not I would need some sort of help with walking before we went on holiday. When we booked it, I didn't know what was wrong with me, so I didn't, as far as I knew, you know, I just could have been given painkillers and could have been cured. Obviously that is not the case, but we'd already booked the holiday, so we were going. But yeah, we were being realistic. It was all stuff we were talking about. I was really adamant that I didn't want to unless like I absolutely could not walk, which up until this point I'd never experienced. I've experienced obviously like immense pains. I get severe pain, and like the fatigue and all the rest of it, yeah, it makes it more difficult, but I'd never experienced like not being able to walk. Like walking was not pleasant for me, it was hard, but I could still do it. Then we were on holiday, we were walking like miles every single day because obviously the parks are just huge, and you know, we were booking fast passes and eating at different places, so we were going from one end of the other to the other, back and forwards again. So lots and lots of walking and swimming and climbing, and like we did lots of fun stuff on holiday, so it was an active holiday. So yeah, it took its toll on me. And then one day when we were at Disney Springs and we'd done all our shopping, and this was the midpoint of our holiday, so in between the 2 weeks, and we were out, we'd done lots of walking that day, shopping, and I was carrying stuff. I mean, I was carrying all the lightest stuff that I possibly could. Like Ben, bless him, was taking out like mugs and like figurines, anything that was heavy he was taking out and putting in his bags, and I just had like plushies and key rings and stuff that was really really small, and light, and pens, but still any, like literally any extra weight is like really really bad for me, and I was walking around carrying that for a while. Yeah, and then it got to this point where I literally just said to Ben, I cannot walk. I physically cannot move my legs. Like we sat down, and then he was like, right, you ready? And I was like, yeah. We were going to get the bus back to our hotel, and I could not get up. My legs had gone completely numb. They were swollen already, but I didn't realise how bad the swelling was until now that I look back, because I took pictures. Now that I look back at the pictures, I'm like, oh my fucking god, I couldn't believe how bad it was. But at the time, it like gradually swollen up day by day on holiday, so I didn't really notice it. Now I realise how bad it really was. But my legs were just numb, like just completely numb. Like Ben was like squeezing different parts of my leg and my feet and going, can you feel that? And I was just like, I literally can't feel anything. In certain places I could feel it, but it was like numbed. Like it's the weirdest sensation, and I can't explain it very well because it was completely new and alien to me. But I basically just couldn't feel my legs. As soon as I stood up, it was like cement was on my bottom half of my body. I literally just couldn't move. So I sat back down. He went and found me a wheelchair. I go into all of that in the vlogs, so you'll see the like messy situation we ended up at Disney with the wheelchairs. But yeah, it just wasn't nice. And so I got in the wheelchair, we got home, and then after that, Ben was just like, I think you're just going to have a wheelchair for the last few days of our holiday. Like, I just think it's just going to be easier on you, blah, blah, blah. Which he was right. Like, I spent the mornings taking my painkillers and going, no, I feel quite good, because obviously you'd had a full night's sleep. I feel quite good, we'll be fine. Like, and walking to wherever, and then getting to the entrance of the park and walking through, and then I was like, yeah, no. Sorry, I just had to change the quality of my filming because I'm having problems with my memory cards, so I'm sorry if this is different. I'm not really a camera expert, but anyway, where was I? I gave in and said, yeah, I need a wheelchair. This is ridiculous. I'm not going to let it ruin our holiday. I'm not going to make it so that we just have to stay in our hotel room for the rest of this second week. Fine, I'll get a wheelchair. Ben, bless him, was amazing and pushed me around. We had some really funny moments. We were trying to be light-hearted and have a sense of humour about it, which it was funny because like there was a few moments where he got me caught on something and I nearly like fucking tipped out, which we were just pissing ourselves laughing at. But people around us are like, this poor girl in this wheelchair is just being like tipped onto the pavement by a boy. It was funny. It wasn't in any way. It was a complete accident. Okay, I'm really sorry again that my camera's just playing up. I don't know how to fix it, but I'm running out of light. So I'm really, really sorry if this is like terrible quality. I don't know how any of this works. I'm sorry. We had some really funny moments. We were trying to have a sense of humour about it. Like, what can you do? I needed a wheelchair. We were both new to it. He's never pushed me in a wheelchair or anyone, and I've never been in a wheelchair, so it was all new. We were newbies. Last day, I felt very, very unwell that holiday. I just felt dizzy, sick, migrainey, just in so much pain. On the plane on the way home, I cried because, I mean, everyone, it was overnight flight and everyone had gone to sleep, including Ben, bless him, and I was like, Ben, wake up, I'm having a breakdown. Because I just couldn't feel my legs again on the plane, and it's just terrifying. Like, for that to never have happened in your life, then all of a sudden you just cannot feel your legs, is terrifying. And on the plane was like even more so because you just feel like you're stuck and trapped, and yeah, it was horrible. I'd say for a month to 6 weeks after we got back, and we got back on the 18th of September, I was so unwell, the most unwell I've ever been in my life. I genuinely thought I was going to die. I said to my parents, so it led up and I was getting worse and worse by the day, and then it got to a point where for a few days I was just bedridden. I could not move, could not feel my legs. As soon as I did get up, I'd just get like such bad pins and needles everywhere, and like it hurt. It was like intense pins and needles that I've never experienced before. I was throwing up. I literally couldn't even keep down water. I was just being sick constantly all day and all night. It was like the worst flu you've had in your life times a million. I was swollen, I was covered in the rash, my skin was burning, everything about it was just horrific. And it got to a point one day where Ben had to go to work and he left me in bed, but it was one of his shorter shifts, so he was like, I'm going to tell your mum and dad and I'm going to leave the door open so that they can come in and blah blah blah. I was like, okay, fine. So he went, and then my mum came to check on me, and I said to her, I feel so ill that if I went to hospital and they told me all your organs have failed and you're going to die today, I wouldn't be at all surprised. Like, and I was completely deadpan and was just like saying it to my mum, like, fact, I'm going to die. Like, that is how unwell I felt. And she went and called my dad, and he came home and they took me to A&E. I think just obviously hearing that freaked them out as parents, obviously, but also like my mum said, you don't look right, you don't sound right, you're just not right. It is the worst you've ever been, and no one was giving me any help in terms of like doctors. So yeah, so we went to A&E. That was really frustrating. I'm sure if anyone's watching that has lupus, you can completely relate to this, but like when I explained it all and how severe it is to the receptionist, she wrote on the piece of paper, reason for coming to A&E today, unwell. Just unwell. Not that like I have a serious disease and my organs could be failing, just she's unwell. And then when I saw the nurses for them to take my blood and my blood pressure and blah blah, I mean I was literally crying because of how much pain I was in. And they asked me to spell lupus, They asked me to spell rheumatology. It's just mind blowing, like it was so bad. They asked me what lupus was. When I said, you know, I'm concerned because I feel really unwell, like I feel like I'm genuinely dying, and I've been told a million times that I might have organ damage, and no one's checked me for anything. Like, I don't understand that. How can you tell me I've got this disease and tell me that what comes along with that is like organ failure, but then not test me or check me, or, you know, that's just wrong. And here I am in agony and feeling like I'm dying. And I'm scared. And the nurse's response was, I'm sorry, who told you about organ failure? You think your organs are failing? They just didn't get it at all. Anyway, we waited and waited and waited, literally hours. When we finally saw the doctor, she was amazing. She straight away, she knew what lupus was, she'd seen it and heard of it before. She said to me, she's so grateful that I came in, but she just wishes I'd come in sooner. She put me on a drip, she gave me painkillers through a line and fluids. I was so severely dehydrated. They were really struggling to get blood from me. I had to do it through my hand, and they were going to use some sort of like machine thing to find my veins because I was so dehydrated because I couldn't even keep water down. I was sick whilst I was there in hospital. It was all like hell on earth, which is why a lot of my videos were compromised. A lot of stuff that I had planned for Halloween and stuff, I just couldn't. I mean, how can you do that when you're in hospital? You can't. So, and that was really upsetting. After that, they referred me to ambulatory care. So the doctor that saw me there gave me a strong dose of steroids, but for a short amount of time. I had to come back in a week to see ambulatory care, to see how I got on with the steroids and be rechecked over. We were there in A&E till like 1 in the morning. And then that was the plan. So we went home, we came back in a week, I went to ambulatory care, still nothing was any better a week later. I was sick 3 times before whilst in the waiting area. And then when the guy was trying to take my blood, I was sick on him. Sorry guy who took my blood, if you're watching. I mean, he like just got me one of those cardboard cup things in time, but like I'm sure he got some splashback, but like what can I do? I was literally projectile vomiting, like what can I do? I was unwell. Anyway, they took like blood samples, urine samples, all that jazz, my blood pressure. I saw another doctor there, and again, like the A&E doctor, they were both outraged that I hadn't seen anyone yet. They couldn't believe I hadn't been referred anywhere. And like when he said that, I realised, yeah, that's really bad. Like, actually, it's really shocking. I've just kind of been patient and been waiting and been just like holding out. I'll see someone soon. This is just the way the NHS is. This is just the way you have to wait. But then I found out that that's wrong and that this is obviously someone's like cock up. So that was frustrating. He called around. He said that no one had referred me for rheumatology. So then it was a question of, well, who's messed up? Was it my GP? Was it the dermatologist I saw? Like, so someone's messed up because I was meant to be referred. Went home, and then my parents did some calling around to try and figure out like what had gone wrong and do I need to get re-referred? What are we doing? Because clearly I need help. They got hold. So basically, I had booked in for myself at rheumatology. Through the dermatologist who diagnosed me. He was meant to refer me to that hospital there, but the A&E I go to is at a different hospital, so that's where they got confused because they're in different boroughs, so no one was sending information across. So I actually had been referred where I was meant to be, but just wasn't down as urgent. They hadn't been getting any information about the fact that I'd gone to A&E or that I was being this unwell. Nothing. So they just thought, oh, she's just like everyone else. So anyone else that came in that was as bad as I was, or not even as bad, was getting pushed in front of me. But I also then, it just basically was a mess, and I ended up with 2 appointments within a week of each other. The first one was one at this hospital I went to A&E at, which I did not originally want an appointment there because it got really bad reviews in the rheumatology department, and now I know why. And the second one was the one that I think it was 2 weeks between them, but the second one was the one that I had originally wanted and was waiting for. So I went back to that hospital for this rheumatology appointment, the one that I hadn't booked, that they'd put me through as an emergency. I walk in, it's this doctor who is really quite abrupt. borderline rude. She wasn't very nice at all. I was in a state still. I mean, I'd been throwing up before we got there. I wasn't any better at this point. I could barely like look up because the hospital lights were so bright, and I just kept feeling like I was going to pass out and blah blah blah. In agony as well, I could barely move. Sat down, and she spent 45 minutes telling me that all of my problems would go away if I did Tai Chi. That is not a joke. I shit you not. That is what the rheumatologist said to me. She blamed everything on my weight. That's all she wanted to talk about. That's all she had to say, was all just about my weight. And I kept reiterating to her, you don't understand. I've had all of these problems for years. Weight gain is one of the symptoms. So I had, and because she kept saying, you'll have less pain though if you lose weight. And I was like, no, you don't understand. I had this pain when I was a size 10. Like, I had this pain beforehand. Like, the weight gain has happened somewhere in the middle, like, which is a symptom of whatever's wrong with me. It's not that I've always, you know, or that I just put on all this weight and then I'm having all these problems. It's not that. They're not related, like, in that way. Like, I'm not having weight related problems. This is quite clearly something else that's caused the weight gain. I kept trying to get that through to her. She just didn't want to hear it. She just was adamant everything was down to my weight. I explained to her I was seeing an NHS dietitian. They gave me how much, like, every portion should be, and I was weighing all my food and blah blah blah, and I still gained the weight. No, there must be something else you're not adding. You must be eating more than that. And that's just what it was the entire appointment. To the point where I then started crying in the appointment. She didn't ask me if I was okay. She just continued to talk through me to my boyfriend, who at this point was getting quite wound up. I mean, he wasn't rude, but you could hear in his voice he was fed up. Because she just wasn't listening. She didn't feel my joints. She didn't look at them. She asked me stuff like, when I said, because a new development as well has been that my hair's been falling out, and when I mentioned that to her, she said, well, yeah, but do you have any scarring on your scalp? And I said, how am I meant to know? I can't see my own scalp, and no one's checked it. She just went, okay, and wrote out, no scarring on scalp, so hair loss not a problem. And I've actually got the letter where she wrote that. So she didn't check it. She just said, okay, you must not have then. Just because you can't see it obviously means it's not there. It just was the weirdest appointment of my entire life. It really upset me. It really confused me. She was making it out like everything was in my head. She started asking me really odd questions when I said that whenever I get given steroids, it makes me feel better. She was like, do you like being on steroids because they make you feel happy? I literally was like, no. I don't like being on steroids. I get given them because I have lupus, and the steroids make the rash go away and make me feel a bit better, as in less unwell. It's got nothing to do with my mood. Are you sure though? Are you sure you don't like them because they make you feel happy? Like, all this stuff that was just crazy and irrelevant. It was just like, it was like we were having a different appointment. It was like I was talking to a doctor that wasn't there and she was talking to a patient that wasn't me, because nothing I said was adding up to what she was coming back with. It was so weird. I went away from that so disheartened and confused. I was having a breakdown, to be quite honest, because every pain I had, I thought, is this in my head? Is it all to do with my weight? I started trying to eat even less, which is actually really bad for me because I'm already, like, obviously was already on a restrictive diet. When I'm on holiday, I eat whatever the fuck I want because I'm on holiday and I'm going to enjoy myself. But when I've been at home, I've been really good. So it was just awful that she did that, and I feel so sorry for anyone that gets her as their only opinion, and I am making like a formal complaint. I'm going to take it as high as I possibly can about that, because I feel like she shouldn't be allowed to be giving people those opinions. My weight was not what I went there for her for. She's a rheumatologist. She didn't do anything. The letter that I got back that she sent to my GP, it said that the blood test she'd given me had come back positive, like for the lupus test, but that she didn't think they would if she did it again. That literally makes no sense. She pure lied in it. She said that this time last year I weighed 60 kilograms and I haven't weighed that little since I was a child, so that's a lie. She said that I told her my rash wasn't reactive to the sun, which is again a lie, because I actually explicitly said to her it gets worse if I'm in sunlight. It was just diabolical, and I am going to follow the complaints procedure. But yeah, it was so disheartening. So those 2 weeks after that were hell. So then we come to my next appointment, and I go in not expecting anything and being like, I'm dreading this is going to be awful, what if he says the same stuff, like I can't take it again, it's just awful. And it was like light and day, the difference was insane. He was actually good at his job, actually seemed qualified. We sat down, he straight away was asking me, questions that someone who had heard of lupus before would ask you, if that makes sense. So I felt like he knew what he was talking about from the second I walked in. And we had a really lengthy discussion. He told me to tell him all of my symptoms as if, you know, he had never read about me from my GP. We went through all of that. He was so good and so thorough. Like, I don't think I've ever had an appointment that was so thorough before, so I feel really lucky. But my God, imagine if that first one was your only opinion. I don't know what you'd do. So that was a little while ago, and basically I came away from that with a treatment plan. Finally, yay! He said to him, he's like basically completely sure that it is lupus. Everything adds up. I've had like really specific blood tests done, and they've all come back positive, which is what happens with people with lupus. All of your symptoms add up. He looked at the pictures. I showed him pictures of the rash and of my swelling, and he said straight away that looks like lupus. Whereas the doctor I saw first, she said that's not lupus. That's nothing. That's just because your legs are swollen like that because you've been on a plane too long, and that rash just looks like heat rash. Brilliant. So completely different opinions. And yeah, so he was like, I am outraged that I didn't get to see you sooner, but no one was passing information to me. So today we're going to do more blood tests, more urine tests. I'm going to get you to start on the baseline medication that we give everyone with lupus, which is like an anti-malarial. So I take that twice a day now. He was like, that won't go into your system until at least 3 months. It takes 3 months to get into your system. So in 3 months' time, I want to see you again. 2 weeks before you see me, do more blood and urine tests. He was like, but when you come and see me in 3 months' time, if you haven't had any negative reactions to the medication you're on, I'm going to also layer on top of that an immune suppressant, because we really need to get your flare-ups under control, because lasting 6 weeks and you throwing up and not being able to eat and not being able to move and the numbness and everything, that is like so severe, and you can't obviously keep going through that because that's just wrong. So that's the plan. So I've gone from being told I definitely don't have it to I definitely do. In my heart I kind of knew that I did, even when I saw her. I was like, because she also didn't, I would have been fine if she'd said, I don't think it's this, but I think it's this instead. But she didn't. She just said, there's nothing wrong with you, it's all in your head, you're just fat and lazy. So, and I know that's not true. So so frustrating, but thank God for this second doctor. He is amazing. I'm so grateful to him. So now I'm on treatment. So far, touch wood, I've had no negative side effects, so that's amazing. So I'm hoping that I'll get the immune suppressant when I go back and see him in a couple of months. Yeah, I'm feeling much better. I always say I still don't feel well. If someone said to me, do you feel well? I'd say no. But in comparison to a month ago, it's like two different worlds. I feel I would take this over that a million times every single time, because that was just, I felt like I was on my deathbed. And now at least, you know, I'm here filming videos and I can go and do stuff. Still not a lot. I'm still having to like rest loads and take everything easy. I'm really bad because I'm one of those that goes, I feel better, so I'm going to do everything in one day, and then I'll just put myself back at square one. So pacing myself is something I've really got to learn. But I'm getting there, and I'm trying to be as positive as possible. I had a period where I felt, after seeing that doctor, where I genuinely was having a breakdown and I felt completely lost and overwhelmed and beaten down by it all. But I guess this is the nature of lupus. Like, you have really, really dark moments, and then you have to take all the light you can get from the good moments, and that's what I'm doing at the moment. No, I'm not well. Yes, I still have this disease. Yes, I still have pain. Right now, my left leg is completely numb. I literally can't feel that. That's just what life is at the moment. I have to, moving forward, I have to wear sun cream constantly all year round, factor 50. And I have to wear gloves and thick socks when it's cold, because otherwise I'm suffer. It's kind of like arthritis. my hands can change colour and go stiff and painful and blah blah. So I have to make adjustments, but like that's just my life now. So what other choice do I have really? I just feel so much better knowing I'm on medication. I know it's a bit of a placebo effect, I guess, but just knowing that someone's doing something. He also said if anything comes back abnormal at all in my urine, I'm getting sent straight to a kidney specialist. He was like, I'm not waiting to see if you've got kidney failure, we're going to send you straight away and they can deal with it. So I can relax knowing that someone who is knowledgeable and qualified is looking after me, is doing all the right stuff, and I can just try and get better and look after myself, I guess. So yeah, I think that's everything. I know it's a bit weird to say, but please give this video a thumbs up. I need like all the love and support I can get, and subscribe to my channel. I upload videos every single week, at the moment 3 times a week, and there's lots of exciting Christmas stuff coming soon, so stay tuned for that. If you have lupus, feel free to message me. Please message me, especially if you've like just found out and you're not getting help. Please reach out, because I did that to other people that have it and it helped me immensely. I'm going to link as well below the Lupus UK website and the NHS stuff about lupus, so that you can look it up. But yeah, I hope this is informative and helps people to understand more like what I'm going through and what other people living with it have to go through. And I will see you all soon. I hope you have a wonderful week. Bye!